What's up, everybody? Last week we got Season 3 of Warzone, and we got Verdansk, and you know that means we have new metas. We cover the long range, we cover the short range. Today we are talking about snipers, although I think this meta is pretty obvious. So we're talking about the sniper meta today. Of course, as usual, we'll go through loadouts. We'll go over to true game data, look at some numbers-based things. And so, of course, if you're just here for loadouts, we got that coming up. But before I get into loadouts, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you'd like this type of content, want to see it first. And comment down below what you think of my loadouts, my rankings, whatever. Let me know in the comments down below. And if you ever want to hang out live, got questions live, want to see anything live, Twitch is linked down below. All my other socials are linked down below, as well as my single player channel. If you want to check me out or support me anywhere else, that is greatly appreciated. But let's jump into the loadouts. So at number 5, we have the Cat AMR, one of 3 one-shot snipers at all ranges. The other ones being what's number 1 on this list, and you know what that is. And is it AMR 4, whatever it is. But the AMR 4 is terrible, and the other one's on this list. And so you had to include one that probably almost everybody playing has unlocked and at least somewhat leveled up, at least anyone interested in sniping. It is one shot at all range, but it's got low bullet velocity. It doesn't have great handling numbers. The cat's fine. You can use it. You just gotta lob your bullets essentially. So first we have the Spirit Fire Suppressor to help with bullet velocity and damage range, and you definitely need the velocity help. Then we have the Zang 34 barrel, once again for damage range and bullet velocity. The range is not as important, but we do want the bullet velocity, of course. Then we have the Ephemeral Quick Bolt for the rechambering speed, so you can have a higher fire rate. We're going to talk about that rear grip in a second. And then we have the Razorhawk Light for ADS. We're not so worried about the sprint to fire speed, but for ADS speed, Laserhawk's the way to go there. So then I have a rear grip on here, and here's where I go back and forth. So the rear grip helps with aim, idle, sway, and flinch resistance, so you can hit your shots more. But with the other snipers having such high bullet velocity compared to the Cat AMR, it's definitely reasonable to go to high grain or go all the way to I'd probably go high velocity here to get the most bullet velocity, and we're not worried about damage range. So you can remove the grip and go high velocity here to get the maximum bullet velocity. And the in-game numbers aren't quite right, but it's at 971, which is not super high for this list. So moving on to number 4, we have the FJX Imperium. And by the way, if somehow you're watching this, Activision, Raven, Call of Duty, whoever, camos don't stay on Modern Warfare 2 gun. I don't know why. They do not stay for me. So we have the Spirit Fire again for damage range and bullet velocity. Now, the FJX Imperium does not one-shot headshot after a certain range. And so the Spirit Fire giving us the damage range, plus the Fahrenheit giving us the damage range is good. Then we have the FJX Blast to get that rechambering speed, so we can have a higher fire rate again. This Kimura laser is the equivalent laser there, and you have the tack stance. Well, we don't worry about that. The sprint to fire and the aim down sight speed. And then we have high velocity on here because they don't have high grain. So we at least got to get that bullet velocity up. You could switch out like a stock, and this one has a lot of aim, idle, sway benefit, the Rib 400. You could do a rear grip, aim, idle, sway, and flinch resistance on the CP60 grip. But we really need the bullet velocity for the current sniper meta. Then moving on to number 3 is the CAR. The only not sniper on this list is the CAR because it's technically a marksman rifle, but it's only marksman rifle that has any one-shot headshot potential. Now, of course, you do have to put an optic on here, and the optic's completely up to you. I like the SPX 80 6.6. Then we have the Spirit Fire Suppressor again for the damage range and the bullet velocity. And this has a very limited one-shot headshot range, so you definitely want the damage range. Then we have the 7.62 long barrel for bullet velocity and damage range again. Then we have the Razorhawk laser again for sprint fire and ADS. Now, this is going to be more of if you're trying to be aggressive and push a lot, but you still want to run a sniper. This is where you're using the CAR. And so we definitely want the sprint to fire and the aim down sight speed. And then finally, we have high grain rounds. There is high velocity here, but we need the extended damage range because this doesn't one-shot headshot at all ranges. And of course, we'll look at ranges and stuff when we jump over to true game data. So we have not been able to do 8 attachments on any of these snipers, but we finally are now, and that's with the LR762, which is going to be your second best sniper. Good velocity. You can put the monolithic on it, which you can't for the MW2 and 3 guns. So that helps the damage range and bullet velocity out a lot because, once again, this is a limited one-shot headshot range. So because it's limited one-shot headshot, we do want to go long barrel to push out that damage range. You can go gain twist to compete with the bullet velocity, but you're losing a good amount of range. You can go reinforced to help both. I would stick with long or reinforced, but we're looking more at long here. The bullet velocity is pretty good as is. Then we have extended mag 1. That's 7 rounds. You can go up to extended mag 2, which is 10. But the extended mag 1 doesn't have an ADS penalty where the extended mag 2 does. And so 7's enough in a sniper mag. We'll go with that. Then commando grip for aim down sight and sprint to fire speed. The heavy stock is here for flinch resistance. You can go light stock if you want to be a little more aggressive, use some movement speed. But you can also go combat stock for just flinch resistance, but and aim walking move speed. You don't need the aim walking move speed. Opt for the heavy stock to get more flinch resistance. Then we're going target laser to help with the aim idle sway delay. It actually removes it completely on snipers. It doesn't on ARs or SMGs or anything. And then either rapid fire or overpressured. The rapid fire is nice because you get the rechamber speed and the fire rate goes up. Overpressured, if you want to go for a little more bullet velocity, it's up to you on either one there. If you're going down to 5 attachments, we're keeping the monolithic suppressor, we're keeping the barrel. Oh, and then we had lightweight handguard on there for aim idle sway, which, funny enough, that's going to actually be the first one we remove. We would remove lightweight handguard. We would remove extended mag because I believe you still have... Yeah, you still have 5, which is enough. So that leaves us one more attachment to take off. With the laser, the aim... Actually, now that you think about it, the underbarrel's even unnecessary. But... we're still helping the aim idle sway because there's still a little bit. So here we go. Well, what do we take off here? I would say probably take off the heavy stock. If you got to go 5 attachments. No, actually, I'd go commando grip because we're not being super aggressive. And I would run monolithic, long barrel, heavy stock, and target laser. And then finally, moving on to number 1, the best sniper in the game. That's obviously going to be the HDR. Great bullet velocity, unlimited headshot range, nostalgia. It's got it all. And so we're going monolithic suppressor. Again, we're going gain twist for bullet velocity because there is unlimited one-shot headshot range. We don't care about damage range. Lightweight bipod for the aim idle sway. And then we have extended mag 2. That gets us all the way up to 9. Extended mag 1 is 7. You can go 7 here. I don't know why I've been going 9. I might switch back down to 7. But I do miss a lot of shots. The mag is up to you. Commando grip for aim down sight, sprint to fire again. We have the heavy stock for flinch resistance. Then we have the target laser, and we have overpressured rounds to really push that one-shot headshot range. You can go rapid fire again, but because it's one-shot headshot, if you're hitting your shots, you don't need to follow up as much. Versus with the LR 7.62, you do have to follow up shots after a certain range, no matter what. So it's nice to have the higher fire rate, but you could also go overpressured for that as well. So if we're going 5 attachments here, we're removing the lightweight bipod, we're removing the commando grip. We're actually making a change to the combat stock because that helps with flinch resistance. And aim down sight speed, which we're losing by ditching the rear grip. And that leaves us 1 attachment. We remove the mag because you still have 5. Yeah, so you still have 5 in your mag, and this is what we're going with for a 5 attachment loadout. So that is your top 5. Number 5 was Cat, then it was FJX Imperium, then it was Car, then it was LR 7.62, and then of course the return of the HDR puts it back at the number 1 spot. So if you're just watching for loadouts, thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, notification bell, and comment down below. For the rest of us, we're going to go to True Game Data. Okay, and we're over at True Game Data now. And we have the attachments in for the most part for all of the loadouts. But we don't have a muzzle on the LR 7.62 because it's still not updated on True Game Data. And shout out to Tony. I know he's working hard on it. It's definitely not a shot at Tony. But it's still not available on the LR 7.62. So we didn't put it on there. So the bullet velocity and damage range will be a little bit better than we look at here. But everything else is how we have it in our loadouts. We are going to go ahead and remove the rear grip on the Cat, though, like we did in our loadouts. And we're going to put it on high velocity. We want to max that bullet velocity because damage range is not important for the Cat. So we can scroll past this TTK chart. This doesn't really matter. TTK is the TTK. I mean, if you do headshots, I mean, you can obviously the HDR and the CAT never actually drop off. It's hit scan range versus having to lead your shot range. That's all that drop off is. But here's what we want to look at. Bullet velocity, HDR is 1208. The LR762 here is king at 1323, but it's got a limited headshot range. The car is at 944. The FJX Imperium 1302, second best, but once again, limited headshot range. And then the CAT AMR is at 933. And then you also compare that with the ADS time. The CAT AMR is by far the worst. The car is by far the best. It's over 200 milliseconds faster than the next closest, so it's obviously your more aggressive sniper here. And then fire rate, the car's at 55, blowing away everything else. And those are the only stats that really matter. You see the HDR actually has the lowest fire rate, but it's got one-shot headshot range, the best bullet velocity between the two unlimited one-shot headshot ranges, the second best ADS time on the list, and even reload time. The reload times are bugged, but I assume that these should just be like 3.7, 3.8. It's got the HDR also has the second best reload time. So the HDR, in my opinion, is clearly the king here. And I do think the LR762 is second, despite the fact that it's slower than the car. It's got better overall range. We can look up here and go to the car, and with the current build, the one-shot headshot range is 58 meters. With the LR, it's 68 meters, and then we can even go to the FJX Imperium, which is also 68 meters. But nothing else is as good as the LR762, so that's why it's here. Otherwise, you would switch the Imperium and the LR762. So HDR is king. We already kind of figured that. We already knew that that would be the case, and that is the case. So those are my top 5 snipers. You really only need 2, maybe the HDR in the car, depending on how you want to play. Maybe throw the LR in there. But those are really the only snipers you need. I did think about doing 3. But thank you so much for watching. Like I said, please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and comment down below. What are your thoughts? And I will see you in the next one. Well, I'll do my usual outro. I'll see you on Verdansk. Get frying. Have a good day. Bye.